Congratulations.
We're gonna vote that way.
All right, we're good.
You got it?
Yes, sir.
Good job. I'd like to call the April 9th Police and Fire Board meeting to order at 6:06. And I would like to ask you to, first of all, give the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now, you will notice in front of you, you have a copy of the agenda. We are going to approve it, and it's, under my understanding, Brian, am I correct or not? We have in number 7, position 11, election of officers.
That's
In
on
which,
there, yep.
in which case, we always move it up to, what position would be advantageous for that?
Well, they can stay right there because
Stay in.
everything else is just quick.
And 7?
Yeah,
Okay.
So we need someone to make a motion to approve the agenda.
I move we approve the agenda as printed.
Okay,
And I
we
will,
need a second.
I will second.
Okay,
Lee seconded. We're good. Okay.
now the minutes.
We have minutes. You should have them, a copy of them,
From last year.
and they'll be from August 14th of 2024. Meeting was called to order. Did you guys get copies or no?
I did.
You did?
Yes.
Brett, you got one?
Yes.
Okay. Take a look at those and make sure that we're happy with the minutes as printed. If not, then we'll need to make some adjustments.
You see that, we elected in August, we had elections.
Oh,
But we usually do it the first of the year, and that's why we're doing it now.
yeah, because we'll be till next August.
Yeah. Any issues?
If there's anything to be changed, someone make a motion that we accept these, minutes as printed, signify by saying aye.
No, we gotta have more
You know,
first.
vote, or somebody's gotta
I
make
will, I will make the motion to approve the
Okay.
minutes as printed.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
and seconded, but, okay.
Seconded by Britt. Perfect. Okay, so, now, what did I do? I don't like that microphone. All right, public comment.
Nobody.
There is no public, so we won't have a comment. Approval of previous minutes, we did that. Old business, none. New business, action items, and election of officers. As customary, on the first meeting of the year, we have election of officers. We have 2 officers to elect. Actually, Brian and myself are up for either replacement or changeover or whatever. So I'll accept any
Nominations.
nominations.
Anybody like to be chairman?
I nominate Mick for another term and our illustrious secretary as
Who for the?
you.
He said Mick. What he meant was Mike.
I've always known him as Mick. Ever since
We've only known
little
each
kid.
other for 78 years or so.
Okay.
So it's,
Sorry, Michael,
It's all right.
and Jeff's his secretary. Do we have another position that we have to,
oh, that's it.
okay,
And so, okay, so we take a vote.
yeah.
Yeah, we have to take a vote.
Do we just go with ayes and nays?
Yeah,
That's fine.
So
That's fine.
Ask them if they have any objections.
Okay, have we got any objections to leaving the officers as requested? Must be they don't. Or they're not
Do
talking.
you accept it?
Yes,
Okay, I do too, unfortunately.
I might just as well. I'm the only one that cares.
So, with no objections, the election is
oh
over.
no, we gotta vote,
Oh,
we still gotta vote.
Yes. So,
do we have to, okay. Do we have to have a formal vote?
No, yeah, it's gotta be a
Yes.
formal vote, but it's,
Oh, boy, where's my,
oh dear God.
yep,
I got a yellow piece of paper.
yeah, but I have it printed out somewhere.
I
just-
know it,
don't
I'm just
know where.
teasing you.
I'll find it, so, we'll do it, so, so what we'll do is, I'll start, Britt, nay or yay?
Yay.
Okay. Lee?
Yay.
Al?
yay,
Yay,
Mike? Mick?
yay. I'll grab it.
Brian? Yay, all right, so it passes,
yes.
Yeah.
all right.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Sign that or initial that, or whatever,
Sign it.
that's the minutes.
That's right, that way we're legal.
That'd make Al feel better.
Yep.
That's what they, And
I
I'll
was
do
told
it.
different, but that's all right. Okay,
Oh, you were told differently?
yeah, I was told that the way it was fine
Oh.
to hand it officially,
Okay, now,
number 8.
we have anything for, items for introduction. I have nothing written for introduction. Did you acquire any paperwork, with regards to anything that we need to,
Nothing new.
nothing new? Al? Anything?
no,
Okay. I do have some points to discuss, but we'll wait a little bit for that. So we'll go on to the police department agency updates and discussion. Police chief.
welcome, chief.
Thank you.
Welcome, chief.
Thank you. I'll talk about our current staffing, some of the projects we're working on, as far as training, and then also go over statistics, for last year. So, currently our staffing levels are, I have 16 total employees. That includes 2 civilian, employees that are, they're our administrative assistants. I couldn't do my job without them. They take a tremendous load off of me, just by filtering what's coming through the front door of the police department. Christy and Teresa are our administrative assistants, and they do a fantastic job. We have 9 full-time officers, and then chief position and 2 sergeants. My lieutenant position is currently vacant, but I'm looking to fill that soon. So I have a part-time officer and 1 reserve officer who serves as our chaplain. That would be John Moe.
And how many reserve?
1.
And that's outside the 16? Or is that?
That's
within
included with
the
total
six-
employees,
16? All right,
correct?
Gotcha.
Right. Right now, both my sergeants are down due to medical reasons. So I am running the whole show, at least for, the next couple weeks, and one's gonna be out a little bit longer, so, I'm hoping to get him back soon, so. I have a lot of plans to move forward, unfortunately, I'm just doing my best to keep the day-to-day operations going and monitoring the officers and everything that goes into running a police department. We have two vacant positions, and we're looking to hire two. We're looking for the best quality candidates we can possibly get, and I'm hoping to cast a wide net to do that.
Those are 2 patrol officer positions.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's gonna be one of my priorities, to get us to full staffing. Any questions on our staffing levels
Yes.
as they are right
So,
now? Yes.
Are one of the candidates for those vacancies, didn't we sponsor somebody through the academy?
Yeah, that's great. So in November of '24, Chief Smith retired, and I took over as the head of the department. And one officer that graduated in December of '24, that's Officer Jacob Belknap. He's currently in our FTO program.
Okay.
He's doing a fantastic job.
All right.
He's in the shadow phase. That is the last phase of the training.
Yeah.
He still has a couple more weeks to pass that, but he's doing a great job. He's a military veteran, a Marine, and you know, he's doing a great job so far. I can't wait till he's on his own and we can start using him to cover some shifts.
Would you say that was successful?
Yes, I do.
Are you-
The last 2 officers that we hired were sponsored. We obtained a grant through the state of Michigan to pay for the academy. It did not pay for their wages, but it did pay for the academy, which helped tremendously. Those are the first 2 officers that Bath Township has ever sponsored. Normally, we would rely on, you know, folks that had already went through the academy, either through themselves or through another agency.
So are there any plans or hopes to get more money to sponsor?
The funding for that program is running low, is my understanding.
Okay.
With how long it takes to identify potential officer, you know, from the time you get their application to interviews, a background, it can take several months. I'm hoping there's still some money there if we can't identify somebody has already have a MCO
So
certification.
you're hoping to hire 2 outside of our training program, you know?
We have,
Already?
yes, I am,
Okay.
and we could really use 2. And if you know anybody that's interested in law enforcement and wants to work for a great community, point them my way.
Okay.
So, I mean, we're, you know, the staffing is a challenge right now. Just so you understand that out of those 9 full-time that work the road outside of command officers, we have 1 part-time officer. He stepped away. He's really just staying on part-time to help us out. He left to pursue his own personal business, and he's doing great in that aspect of it. But out of those, so if you count the part-time officer and the 9 full-time officers, 7 out of those 10 have been hired from 2020 to currently. So we are super young as well.
Well, I know.
And looks like the trend that's right across all law enforcement around the nation.
Although, I know 2 guys, and this is on the west side of the state, small departments kinda like ours, and one guy was 60, went through the academy and they hired him. Another guy was in his 50s and went through the academy, because they're not getting, you know, younger people, just, it's hard to get new people.
Yeah.
So,
It is, and I think it's gonna be a challenge. You know, I think it certainly is a challenge for the smaller agencies compared to the larger ones, just because of the extra job duties that a larger agency has compared to what a smaller one has. You know, we have a detective position, of course, your command sergeant positions, and also a K-9, and then there's extra things you can do, such as field training, or be on our multi-jurisdictional tactical team. I mean, these are things that we can do, but these are, you know, minor compared to large agencies. So we really want somebody that is looking to be involved in a community the size of Bath with the opportunities that are present here.
Have you thought, is there a benefit to a corporal position?
I'm not sure of that. Everything's on the table as far as I'm concerned.
Because that might be an incentive, just a slight bump in pay, and then they could fill in for sergeants if there's vacancies, or they call for a supervisor, and the only one available is the corporal, so.
Yes, sir, that's, the other agencies that use that, I'd have to look at our policies to see if that's
Yeah, even
included
possible.
in the hierarchy, but even if it isn't, you know, there's things that we
Explore
can
it,
do to
you know.
explore those things. I think that, that's a really good suggestion, so thank you. Big news, last March, the 31st, so just a couple weeks ago, Officer Cook, who's one of our newest officers, he was selected as our future canine officer. And he went to Pennsylvania, there was a kennel there, and he picked up our new canine. And the name is Indy, I-N-D-Y, short for Indiana. We're really excited about that. Right now, that, you know, that selection process, like I said, they drove, I think it was a total of like 15 hours where they had to drive to Pennsylvania. They had a whole process where they presented with a group of dogs, and they had to pick the one that they felt best fit the person, the handler, correct? So Officer Cook, he ended up picking Indy. Seems like a really great dog right now, but there's a lot of training that goes along with that too, and that canine is going to go to Oakland's Police Academy, where they do a canine training, and they have instructors down there that just specialize in training the dog initially. So it'll be training all the basics that it needs to know without its handler. And then Officer Cook's going to have 5 weeks of training at Oakland with the dog, and that's 5 solid 40-hour weeks. And then they'll learn how to work together and learn each other. So we're hoping by the end of June, they'll be on patrol in our neighborhoods and keeping us safe. And if Indy can be as good or even close to as good as K9 Ico, I'd be extremely excited about that.
What is the dog gonna be trained in as far as, what kind of duties are you going to lay on him?
Yes, Lee, good question. We are gonna train it in basic narcotics, but it mainly is gonna be a tracking dog, so it's gonna, you know, be available to track suspects who are out on the loose, as well as do article searches for items that may have been thrown out as part of evidence of cases. No explosives that I know of right now. Those are kinda like two separate.
Yeah, you gotta do one or the other when it comes to narcotics and bombs, yeah.
Yes,
So.
right, thank you.
But cadavers,
I think that's the
That's still
same
a separate,
thing.
yeah, it's still a separate thing.
And even as my understanding, I am not an expert in K9, it sounds like Lee's got a lot more.
I'm not an expert, but I dealt with them for many years, so.
They usually use a different breed of dog for cadavers. And thankfully, we don't have a high need for that
Yeah.
in our community. But if we ever did, there's resources that we can
Sure,
reach out
sure.
to find, you know, those animals. That's a quick highlight of, you know, our staffing levels as they currently are, kind of the goings on of what's happening within the agency. The only huge equipment purchase that we're going to do this year is we are going to replace 2 of our 2019 and 2020 Tahoes. We have one 2019, one 2020. We're gonna replace those with brand new Tahoes, this year. They're gonna be in May and hopefully be upfitted and ready for the road by July.
and they're gonna be Tahoes again.
Yes, sir. I debated on going with another truck, but after having some experience with our truck, I think it's a great vehicle. It's just, doesn't hold the cargo capacity you would think of that a Tahoe does. That back space is really important for us, as it's, weather sealed compared to
A topper or
the
whatever.
topper on the back of.
Is that four-wheel drive?
Yes, all our vehicles are four-wheel drive, and I've had to work for a long time
They
without
didn't
them.
used to be.
That's where I'm going with this. I had to work a
Amen.
long time without four-wheel drive, and I'll tell you, you know, some days I would carry a snow shovel with me to
Yeah.
to help me get me out of people's
Yeah.
driveways.
It was always, oh, it's more expensive, but Jesus, it's much better.
Well, they used to not be pursuit rated, and that was the big hangup, is they couldn't figure out the technology, but the technology has come to a point right now where they are pursuit
higher
rated,
speeds,
yeah. Correct.
Good.
So I'm looking forward to that, because these older 2020 built Tahoes are, a little less reliable than our other cars in our fleet. We spend a lot of time, they spend a lot of time in the shop, which means that they're not out on the streets, which means we're putting a lot of pressure on our other vehicles and getting a lot of high mileage off of those. So I'm hoping to get these two up and running really quick to help alleviate that situation.
What's your thoughts on decaling the police cars to not be hidden in camouflage with police and things on the side? In other words, you know, nice bright identifying police, Bath Township.
Do you think that our decals are
I think they're
camouflaged?
subdued a bit, some of them are.
The new truck is definitely a little bit more subdued.
I can see, you know, one vehicle like that, but the other ones, I think you'd want people to see that they're police for
Yeah.
assistance.
You know, I don't care what we got on the side of those, we take it down a dirt road and it's gonna be camouflaged. Old,
I understand.
old, Officer Tom Miller, he used to intentionally kinda drive down some back roads.
I'm aware of those kinds of officers.
You could call that his own personal camouflage. You know, I guess I would have to weigh the difference between being visible, to the public and also being visible to maybe the less desirable portion of the public, meaning.
That's why I say
If we
you could
roll
have
up
one
on
or the other.
on a scene and we're trying to be, stealthy in our approach, because we always wanna have a safe approach. If it's shining so bright that you can see it from blocks away, that's kinda defeating the purpose, and maybe could put some officers' lives in jeopardy. So I'd have to weigh and make sure that, you know, we're getting the best of both worlds, as far as decals go.
I just don't like the black cars with black lettering.
Yes, well, I'm glad we don't have that.
That's an extreme example, but I've seen some sheriff's departments have that.
Yes, are those usually,
They'll have a gold outline of the
slick
lettering.
tops with no lights? What I've seen, they're usually traffic cars, and so they are kinda meant to be hidden a bit.
Yeah, because the purpose is to generate revenue and pull people over, or to slow people down.
I think it would be to
Save
catch violators.
Okay,
It's a catch-22 situation.
yeah.
Officer safety if it's lit up and it's
I just wanted your opinion on it, you know.
very visible.
I can see a use for both types, being, you know, a little bit more observable for citizens patrols and for public relations and things like that, and have some little stealthier ones for highway and.
Well, the one
Pulling up
thing
the
maybe what you ought to give some thought, in my opinion, you need to go to the high school, or even the grade school right over here, and walk in there and say, you kids are gonna design the next police
Oh,
car
God.
graphics for Bath Township.
McFunny, McPolice, McBoat, McDuck, McPatrol car.
Anyway, and what
You
you
know, you tried
do
that with a boat, right?
for the winner of the contest, and it's gonna be judged by you and, or a committee. And the winner of the contest gets a ride-along. So it doesn't cost you anything to do it, and you go out and show the kids the donut shops and the township, and you stop here a lot, and things like that. I see you over there, Chuck. So,
That's a pretty good idea. I'd be interested to see what, some of these kids come up
Well,
with.
here's the thing. The best of the worst design, you're stuck with,
Right.
so. I could see designing like a sticker or something that goes on, and not the whole, you're talking about the whole side of the vehicle?
you have to realize, most cars just have the doors lettered anyway.
Yeah, but you can have fenders and bumpers and hoods.
I mean, it's not a county car. They would never have their vehicles look like county cars.
Have we thought about endorsements like stock cars and race cars, where we have sponsors and?
We could put Tommy's Pizza on one, would that make you happy?
I'm saying, if Tommy Pizza wants to give $5,000 for the year,
The cannabis shop?
like the
That's true.
baseball players now wear
That's true.
advertising.
Yeah.
Matt, just as one thing here, you need to give us some numbers for
He's not done yet.
if you have them.
He does.
Yes, sir.
I didn't want, Brian to feel left out.
I've been writing furiously the whole time. I don't feel left out.
I do.
Well, I know. All right, so if you've got some
Kill me,
numbers,
this ain't gonna work. I'm
Yeah.
sitting next to me.
tell me first the year and then how you, what, from
Well-
where, from what?
If it's okay, I'd like to, just talk
Oh, sure.
about some training.
Yep.
Too.
Yep,
You know, some of the in-house priorities I have is I wanna improve our training program. I'm not gonna be shy about it. I want our training program to be a premier training program for the entire state. I think that's an achievable goal with the men and women I have in my department. And with, the MCOLS that's our licensing governing body. They have, well, by law, the lawmakers have created a new continuing professional education requirement. And we are to have 24 hours of training per year required. They mandate what that training looks like. So for the year 2025, we have 8 hours of mandated training in behavioral health. And those include things like mental health, autism awareness, Alzheimer wellness, legal updates, and things like that. And there's also, the remaining is 16 hours of agency-selected training. And these trainings can include investigations, patrol operations, ethics and policing, defensive tactics, and so on.
so mandatory is behavioral health, 8 hours, and the 16 hours is up to the department.
Correct. And the mandated training, that will rotate yearly. I think they have a 3-year cycle right now. I couldn't tell you what the other 2 years are gonna be right now. I don't think they've come out with that.
So you have to do the 8 hours within 3 years.
We have to do the 8 hours has to be in 2025.
Okay.
And then the 16 has to be done, and so the total 24 hours has to be done this year, and it will have another 24 we have to do next
Okay,
year.
every year, but.
Correct.
But that behavioral health topic could change, or is that gonna be stuck there every year?
If I could, that will not be every year, that will be probably like every other year, every 3 years.
Okay.
And they'll rotate it through, with another 8-hour mandate that they feel is something that we need. As you can see, 24 hours of extra training, that puts quite the stress on agencies, especially one the size of ours. And it even doubles it when you're going through personnel issues. But, we're surrounded by a great community in this county, and all the agency heads, police agency heads have come together, and they formed they call it a core training, and that core training is consistent of 3 8-hour days. They do it twice, so if they have like session 1, it'd be 8 hours for, let's say, side A, so everybody working side A will go, and then 8 hours the next week for side B, cause everybody can't train, they have to be out on the road. And that pretty much takes care of all our mandated training for the year, and we do it as a group. It's been really successful. We were able to, add these agency-selected trainings, and I think that's very important, especially for things like defensive tactics. It's very important, like, if I'm telling you I have 1 or 2 officers working the road and we get something big, that means that DeWitt Township, the county, or another agency is gonna come help us. And it's important that we're on the same page as far as how we're gonna handle a situation. If we could say, obviously, if one person is not on the same page, then that can lead to some issues that we don't want. And that seems to be very successful so far, not only, the training aspect, but just sitting in a room with somebody that you don't know very well and getting to know them has its added benefit as well.
A question, so on the 24 hours, that's for any police officer, including command?
Correct, I am mandated to do the training as well to
That's what I was
keep my
wondering.
license.
Okay,
Yes. I do everything my officers do. I haven't been out on the road recently just because I've been buried in the office, but if there's a call where I need to go, I go. If I need to cover the road, I'll do it. That's just the nature of the position.
You mentioned license, I didn't know there was a chief license.
There's not, it's a police officer license.
Oh, okay, just your,
Yes.
yeah, okay. Just to maintain your qualification as a law enforcement officer.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. I thought you meant like a captain's license for a boat or something special.
Don't say that too loud, somebody else see the benefit of taxing that, and I'll make them.
That brings up the question, now who pays for the training?
Good, very good question. So the wages, is up to the police department, but, once, my understanding is once, the state makes a law that they require something, they have to provide funding, which they have. And, I couldn't quote you exactly how much, but I think it's like, $1,200 per officer.
So the course
Per
would be
year.
covered,
Correct.
should be, yeah.
Yes. If there's anything left over, there's some, that money doesn't have to specifically be used for the training, but it can be used for, covering overtime to cover a shift, or also to purchase, equipment as long as it's approved by the MCOs board. So it's a little flexible in its uses. With our core training, we have it right now. We are saving a little bit of money as far as, paying for the training because we're doing it all as a group, which has freed up, like last year, I requested any remaining funds be applied towards our overtime budget. And in the future, maybe if we need something like, for training, I'm looking at a new technology to improve our training program as well, such as, VR goggles or laser training for your firearms, so you can practice dry firing, or even up to a smart dry ease board, something that, I think could help us out tremendously with, event planning and, training as well. To go along with training, like I said, that's one of my priorities as far as, the 90-day plan that I presented to the board. And the foundation of our training is our field training officer program. Like I said, we have currently an officer in the field training, and, I believe that is just the foundation of what makes a good officer. You gotta give them the knowledge and the tools to be successful. And, we've had a good program in the past, but I'm just always looking for ways to improve upon that. So I've started moving the best I can to improve that. Currently, we have 3 officers who are certified field training officers, and that's Sergeant Miller, Officer Siedelberg, and Officer Heffelfinger. So recently, I've sent Sergeant Miller to a FTO supervisor school, so he can gain some more knowledge on how to supervise the program. And just a couple weeks ago, Officer Cedarberg went to an FTO refresher course to get updated, as he hadn't gone to a course in a few years. I also have Officer Heffelfinger researching, software to help monitor the training progress and get feedback from the training, so I'm hoping that, you know, implementing that and keeping track of easy ways, because right now we do everything with paper forms, and, you know, it's just time to get into the new world. In the future, I would like to, improve our FTO program by implementing a mentorship model, and that would be assigning a new officer fresh off of their FTO to a senior officer, someone where they can informally bounce questions off. 'Cause even though we have a pretty robust program, they still don't encounter every call that you possibly could in the training timeframe. Are there any questions on that? Stats, so it looks like you got your pen ready.
I do.
It's just a quick down and dirty, and I can look through, I brought, you know, our hard numbers here, if you had any further questions, I can look them up. Just from the year 2023 to last year, 2024, we, experienced an increase of 446 more calls for service. And that included, an additional 251 more written reports. Normally, we do our reports and Christie keeps them in one drawer of a cabinet. And last year, that thing was overflowing. And that's the first I've seen it in my career get that high. We were over 1,000 reports for the year, which is, you know, unprecedented.
Chief, would you know what that would be as far as percentile?
If you wanted to crunch the numbers, we took 15,663 calls in 2023, and in '24, we took 16,109.
Okay, thank you.
So, if you could figure out that, you get your percentage.
Okay. Do you scan these?
Excuse me?
Do you scan the reports and have
What do you
them
mean?
electronically,
The
written reports?
all our written reports, so they are done, in a computer format, through a system, it's called mobile field reporting, it's included in our CAD system for the county, which the county, pays for most of. And, it's all electronic, so we don't really handwrite them out, they're all on
Well, what was showing
electronic
your
forms.
files?
But they get printed off and thrown into a case jacket, and that's just the way that, Christie, our office manager, has
You
been
wouldn't
handling
need to
it.
do that though, right?
No,
You could set up a system where all of these were electronically in a library somewhere where somebody wanted a particular case, they search it, it comes up, they can print it out.
yes, some things do have to be hard copied, those such as any forms that go with it. For instance, if you get a drunk driver, there are several forms that you have to fill out, those are just handwritten now, so copies of those will have to be kept somewhere. You could
They can
elect,
be scanned and included with the file,
I understand that,
okay?
but you wanna keep the original for
Yeah, for
court
court
purposes.
proceedings, you have to have the original, they don't always,
For how long?
till the case is adjudicated and the person has served their time.
Then they can be
Then it can be destroyed.
Retention periods, and we do convert some of these later. This is like just for the year, the Captain Court Jacks, a lot of times an officer will, grab that jacket that has the report, all the required materials, and they'll take that with them to court and present that as evidence to help them in their court case.
Okay.
That way they have everything contained, Otherwise, we'd be printing everything off again, you might have to do it multiple times if there's multiple trips to court. Unless you kept a file. But then towards the end of the year, all those get kinda scanned and purged, and put, and that's based on a retention. And we have pretty strict retention that's set by law. For instance, a felony, we have to keep those records for 110 years. So,
You'll be retired maybe by then.
yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Okay. That's good.
Included in those, the increasing calls is also been an, increase in traffic contacts. We had 1,100 more traffic contacts than we did in the year previous. And that's due to, one is having the newer officers, and, two is we actually have had some time to, address citizen complaints. We get them every day. Somebody's speeding on our road, we want an officer down there. When I was lieutenant, I approached the officers and asked them, do they have, any ideas on how we could keep better track of these hot spots where we're getting complaints, in certain areas. I mean, Park Lake Road is a prime example, or Webster and Clark Road. These are, main thoroughfares through our community, and, people seem to not obey the speed limits too much, so we generate a lot of complaints. And, I've had officers come up with a board. We actually will write down, hey, this is the new, issue we're having, and, the citizen call it in and says, sit in our driveway at this address, and then we'll mandate they sit in those areas. So that has, contributed to an increase in those, contacts, and with those contacts, we've also, to be honest, we're not big on writing tickets, especially to the people in our communities. But we are taking dangerous people off the road due to those increased contacts. So, part of the stats is, and I would like this to be known is we increased our, driving violation, or driver's license violations, that increased by 74 over the previous year, and we also arrested an additional 81 people with outstanding warrants, just due to those traffic contacts. So it's not just a punishment for, you're speeding, that's not what we're looking for.
I know what fishing is.
We're looking for, the dangerous drivers in our community, and also those wanted criminals. Year to date, from this time of 2024 to this time of this year, we have an increase in 514 more calls for service. So it's going up.
So you add that to 23, 24, and from 23 to 25, and you've got almost 1,000. Okay.
And it's not even warm yet.
It's making me a little nervous, Lee.
Understandable.
Yeah, our summer times tend to increase our calls for service. Some of the things that I didn't write down, but I think are worth noting is, we're seeing an increase across the board in vehicle break-ins, and also vehicle thefts. I mean, we've had, and normally that's not an issue at all in our areas, but our stolen vehicles, they increased by 18 from the previous year. We had 18 more stolen vehicles than we did in the year prior. A lot of those are coming from our student housing apartments on Chandler Road, the larcenies from the auto as well as the vehicle. So being broken into, I couldn't tell you exactly what's going on, but if it's trending like other communities is, there's there's juveniles that are committing a lot of these crimes. And they're mostly just crimes of opportunity where vehicles are left unlocked, unfortunately.
I'm coming for you, Mike.
Any questions on the statistics at all?
Good.
I'm good.
Anybody have any questions of our chief? Okay. Well, Matt, we already got more information. I don't know if Lyle and Gary were quieter than you and retained the information and didn't share it or what, but this was wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, keep in mind, this is several months worth,
Yeah,
and we have a new chief, so there's gonna be more.
So what are you trying to say? That,
I'm saying that it might have been. this
that
would-
Matt talks more than?
No, I'm saying it might be average.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mike. Fire department, we're not gonna be able to do
no.
whatsoever. So public comment, no one's here. Township board report, township board person.
Well, Karen said she would email you guys
Right.
the information that's on the fire department. So, they're working on the sidewalks in Bath, on the sidewalks to school. They will start about, the, first of July, working on this section of the road from Webster Road to Drumheller. And then when they get that done, they'll work on the section from the expressway to the Drumheller Road. They're gonna try to keep this open so the township can do business and people can get in here. So I don't know what I guess maybe they want you to go south first or use Drumheller Road to get in here. We just accepted, the road committee has, these are the roads, I only have one copy, but you guys can take a look at them. This is the top two are, Bath Village, we're gonna blacktop this year. And, Fawn Valley, we're gonna seal coat. And then all the rest of these are seal coat that are gonna be done this year, besides our, spraying and our mowing on the side of the road, and spraying, filling the cracks. So if you wanna look at that, you can. Basically, that's, about all I have.
I'm anticipating that there's gonna be some increased traffic on our secondary roads when they
Yeah.
close it south of Drumheller. They're also gonna be shutting the ramp down, both ramps from westbound 69 to Webster Road. So the on and off ramps will be shut down. I'm told that's gonna be not a long time, maybe a day or two, but I can see some serious traffic issues, so my department will be addressing those and being proactive about it.
And they also will be putting a sidewalk from the expressway to our sidewalk out here on the side of the road. And they're hoping to get some money for streetlights for the sidewalk.
What about, the sidewalk near the beach?
That hasn't come up yet.
Well,
We bought that house and tore it down. And then we have, the other one we've tore down before, so we've got 2/3 of the area along the beach, from the beach to the boat launch that we own, and everybody else has told us we could, get an easement to get it in there. Now, from the beach around to, the old township, Bath Improvement League Hall, that hasn't been discussed much. We've got a lot of other we're having trouble with the state and some of the new rules they put in on our retirement for our police officers and fire department and our people that work here. And they told us we had to put a bunch of money in there, and we're wanting to know why it come now, why they didn't let us know the last 20 years. But we're getting close to getting it.
City of Lansing did the same thing when our current mayor was elected. And now, we're sitting in a hole trying to look over the dirt.
That's what we're trying to do, and the trouble is, the state changes the percentages that we're supposed to keep in there. And they just changed it last year, which put us in behind.
Anybody got any questions of Al? Okay. Okay, let's go on to member comments. We'll start with you, Britt.
I'm all set.
You're all set?
Yep.
Lee?
I don't really have anything to say either, I guess.
Okay. Al?
No, I have nothing.
Nothing?
I'm,
You're speechless.
pretty much, ever since I've been on chemo, I don't talk quite as much as I used to.
And his wife's happy about that.
Yeah.
Brian, you got anything?
I have nothing.
Okay, I'm gonna make, this was when I was thinking seriously about bringing something up. As you can see, our meetings are lackluster, and it has gone downhill and downhill and downhill. And we know a lot what the reasons are. However, I think it's time that we as a committee need to resurrect the police and fire board. And what I mean by that is I think it would be nothing better, we'd like to see some participation other than board members sitting here discussing the township and what's going on in it. You can't get them to go to a board meeting very often. And it's very difficult to get someone in this township to volunteer for anything. So maybe it's time that we try our angle and ask one of the people like the police chief or a fire chief, assistant fire chief, whatever, to come in and have a report on training of different things, i.e. like fire department training is a broad, general thing, to come in and to have something to speak about that will bring us together, and maybe we can derive some type of discussion that's going on from the information that we get. I'm not asking for any of it tonight. However, I would very much, at the June meeting, when I bring it up, that we can offer some suggestions about what we'd like to do. Because otherwise, I'm very much concerned that this little police and fire board is gonna disappear.
Well, I do think it would be helpful if, I mean, I have no qualms whatsoever and advocated for Matt to be the chief. However, why weren't we included in A, the review of applications, B, interviews? I mean,
We
you
used to
have,
be.
you have us here.
We
We used to
used
be.
Why not use?
I don't know if that's a union thing or what, but we used to be on interview boards. A representative from this committee would help evaluate new candidates that the police and fire would hire. And that was 15 years ago or so.
that's 100% true.
That would be something that I would encourage. The other thing would be, is community Facebook pages and stuff, you can let people know when our meetings are and encourage the public to attend the meetings so that we could get input. One of our duties was to be a liaison between the public
Absolutely.
and the township and the
Absolutely.
police and fire. And, you know, we don't get many, and that may be a good thing, because maybe the fire and police are doing a good job and there's not a lot of issues. And so that can be a positive thing, but there's always a little issue somewhere or another. So that would be something, if we could get even 5 or 10 people in here meeting, it would
And
be nice.
it's,
Plus, I mean, a lot of people watch it on YouTube
Yeah,
as
a lot
well,
of people
so.
do.
and it's not gonna delve deeply into things, because as everyone at this table knows, there are certain situations that Matt can't discuss, there's certain situations that the fire department can't discuss. However, they managed to get some kind of news out over TV6 or Channel 10 or whatever, and all that is a general excerpt of a storyline, and they're able to talk a short bit about that. Then you might generate some questions from the people that aren't sitting in those chairs.
Does the YouTube videos for the township meetings allow comments? They don't, I don't think,
Comments?
on the YouTube
No.
videos.
No,
Why is
there's
that?
no. Since the COVID, we don't have the setup for it.
You enable comments on YouTube. You are taking these videos and putting them on YouTube. Bath Township has a
Yeah.
YouTube channel.
Yep,
And below the video, there's a place for comments by anybody that watches the video.
okay. See, I'm not.
I know, and I'm telling you, that's disabled, so no one can
Yeah.
make comments.
Oh, you would have to talk with, Taylor.
Now, I can imagine why they don't want comments,
I can too.
but if you really wanna be transparent and get ideas and things,
Yeah.
I mean, most of it's garbage, but some of it might have some good ideas in there.
Yeah,
And that would technically be a government page, and they couldn't delete comments. Those people would be free to say whatever they want.
write that on your minutes, and, we'll make sure that it gets to Karen and Taylor.
There might be legal reasons or not, I don't know.
I don't know.
But it's something that pisses me off, that you can't make comments. Cause you wanna get people to, you know, to come to public meetings, but you don't allow them to make
Yeah.
comments on that. Now, I'm not saying you have to have somebody read all the comments, but at least they're there and people can vent.
Yeah,
I
And
thought
one-
that's what the township Facebook page was for.
Pay for what?
No, I thought that's what the township Facebook page was for, was venting.
Well, that's true.
There's always a lot of
But
venting.
this is specifically to committee meetings and township board meetings and stuff.
Right.
And the other thing I wanted to bring up was, I don't know who knows it, who doesn't know it, that we are going to have a Bath Days of type. It's not going to be called the same thing.
right.
You know what it's gonna be called, Matt?
I'm not sure at this point.
Anyway, I had read a comment with regards to that, and they are gonna have bathtub races. So for any of the days of old people that enjoyed watching bathtub racing,
Who doesn't?
we thought,
That's right.
I'm gonna
highlight
get
of
you
the
to push this year.
Who doesn't like watching them? I was
So,
being sincere.
so am I.
Okay.
Get your running shoes oiled up.
I'm an old man with a bad back.
Your front ain't very nice either.
Well, he was waiting for that one.
Touche.
Anyway,
Damn it.
all right,
So
Anything-
good. So it'll be like a summer festival.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I believe from what I read, it's probably gonna be about the same time of year that Bath Days was, which is about the 1st of August.
Correct.
Okay. So,
Well, that would be nice.
yeah, right. And I volunteer my time every year, and quite honestly, and that was another thing, there's your public comment, or public participation. It was nil, next to nothing, the last year they had Bath Days.
Yeah.
And
We get that. It's
it's
sickly.
sad.
It's gone for a few years, it gets really excited, it goes well for a few years, and it slowly goes off and it dies. Pretty much the way it's been for the last 30 years.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else got anything? If not, I'll accept an adjournment, motion.
I move we adjourn.
Okay.
I have a motion, anyone second?
Yeah, I'll second.
I have a second. Gentlemen, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule
You gotta vote
for adjournment.
on adjournment, yes. All in favor say.
Oh, all in favor say, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? There. Thank you. It's a good thing you were.